everybody, and welcome back to the Bay Bolts channel for another episode of Quick Strike. And unfortunately, this is going to be the first playoff Quick Strike where we have to talk about a loss. As always, my name is Jake Ricker, alongside my good friend and co-host Michael Wax. Michael, a tough pill to swallow there for the Lightning as they lose this game in overtime by a score of 6-4. Lots of goals in this one. How you feeling today?
Jake, a multi-goal blown lead in the third period to disrupt what was ultimately a undefeated record at home, and a team that hasn't won a playoff game at home in Amalie Arena since 2018. I'm feeling actually pretty good. Like, we'll get into the game, but overall it was not that bad.
Yeah, I think the biggest part of this was it was disappointing. I think after the comeback they had in the second period, which we'll get to here in a minute. But let's break it all down and kind of go period by period and see what we can make from this game. First period, Michael, I didn't think was that great, obviously, because you go down 2-0, not an ideal start at home. Also, though, I do want to talk. Well, we'll talk about this in the second period when the Lightning did finally get on the board. But first period, you go down 2-0. The Lightning just looked like a little step off to start things off, a little slow. I mean, it wasn't anything terrible. I think there was a couple goals Vasi may have wanted back, but just not an ideal start for the Lightning in that first period.
Yeah, and you look at the goals against, and the main culprit on the ice is once again Mikhail Sergachev. Like, Sergachev has had a super tough series so far. And right before the OT winner, which again we'll get to later, we don't want to keep on pushing things to the side, but I was like, Mikhail needs to get on the board. He needs to get some sort of confidence back because he has been horrible these past three games. And ultimately, he was on the ice for, I believe, both the goals. If he wasn't for the second, it was because the Hedman and Ruda pairing were on the ice. Hedman is also struggling defensively. Andre Vasilevsky probably wanted at least that second one back, the follow-up shot from Radko Gudas that just seemed to whiz by his ear. Uh, as far as the effort's concerned, like, as long as it's not the first line or surprisingly Tyler Johnson, it was horrible.
Playoff
Like,
Johnson, baby.
playoff Tyler Johnson came to play in that first period, and so did the first line, and everybody else just kind of tried to get their footing underneath them, I guess. Like, you're up 2-0 in the series. You know the Panthers are going to try to come back because this is a must-win game for them because they would go down 3-0 with a loss, and you come out looking like that. It was just very surprising.
Yeah, it was surprising, and you're at home as well. It's the first time you're home. 9,000 fans in the building. It's the most we've had in forever. It's been a long time, so I'm sure they were loving the fans in there. But tough first period. But as the Lightning love to do in Lightning fashion, they make adjustments as they always do, and they come out. And I think, Michael, we might have witnessed the best period of hockey we've ever seen the Lightning play. They come out and they score 5 goals in the second period. The Panthers do get one in there as well, but wow, what a period this was. Anthony Cirelli breaking his goalless streak, finally getting one on the board. Well deserved. He's been working at that for a long time. He's had a lot of close chances. He finally gets one. Ross Colton gets his first playoff goal of his career. Steven Stamkos gets a goal. Braden Point, Alex Killorn. It seemed like everything was clicking. A couple of those were on the power play as well. Actually, 3 of them on the power play to be exact. But just a fantastic second period right there. And I do want to talk about this too, Michael. The Lightning had a new addition inside Amalie Arena. When the Lightning score a goal, they have some smoke going off behind the fans, which is really really cool. We actually have a fan question about it, so we'll get to it in a little bit later. But fantastic second period.
A really, really solid second period. Yeah, we talk a lot about process, not results. And this period, I think, was a little bit more skewed towards the result side of things because you did have 5 goals for, 1 goal against. The only real complaint I had in that period was the penalty kill. You try not to take penalties in the playoffs. And if you do, I understand Florida has a very high powered power play, but I just didn't like what I saw from the penalty kill. Andre Vasilevsky had to make some incredible saves on the penalty kill and on the power play. That big save on, I believe it was Mackenzie Weegar before the Alex Killorn goal, the 5th goal of the period. Very happy for Anthony Cirelli, first goal in 29 games. the Steven Stamkos goal, what a entry zone and pass from Ryan McDonough. We talk about the duality of the left-handed side, which is what I did in my solo video game too. Victor Hedman and Mikhail Sergachev have not been that good. Ryan McDonough has been basically 2014 Ryan McDonough all over again. You say what you want about that contract, you say what you want about the length and the term and all that stuff. He's been amazing in these playoffs so far. And the Lightning are going to need him to keep being amazing if the other two struggle. So ultimately, I'm happy to see the power play click. I am happy to see people get off the schneid and get their first playoff goals or their first goals in a long time. And then we get to the third.
That's the perfect way to put it because the Lightning are up 5-3 heading into the third period. They're leading after two, which they are undefeated. They were undefeated, I believe, going into after leading after two periods. So you're feeling pretty good, and the fans are into the game. And then the Lightning just got defensive. They started playing really, really defensive, which is not their game. This has happened to them before. You'd think they would learn by now that this is not what you want to do. The Lightning had just made a goal, or the Lightning, excuse me, the Panthers just made a goaltender change as well. Krieger was out and Bobrovsky was in the net now for the Florida Panthers. So you think new goalie, he's not fresh. You want to get on him as much as you can, play offensive, put some more goals on the board. Lightning don't do that. They play extremely defensive, and Florida takes advantage of it. They ultimately scored two goals in this period to tie the game at 5. Just not good. Not just the best way I can put it.
Yeah, it was horrible. Let's be frank with ourselves. Like, okay, that first goal, the Hornquist goal, I am angry at a few people, mostly Andre Palat, for taking that penalty in the first place. I understand that Sorelli just got hit behind on the numbers into the boards. You cannot take retaliatory penalties because the referees will turn a blind eye to the original problem and they will see what you do and they'll call you for it. Victor Hedman was not strong enough on Patrick Hornquist. That's why he was able to direct the puck with his skate, not a kicking motion, but direct the puck with his skate into the goal. Another goal that Andre Vasilevsky wants to have back. The Winberg goal, or the Forsling goal that, thought Alex Winberg had actually scored. Man, Vasilevsky needs to make a save. And we'll get to that in overtime too. Like, this was one of Andre Vasilevsky's worst games since probably game 2 of that Columbus series in 2019. He was awful. And he made some big saves, like that again, that shorthanded save or the power play save on Uyghur. He made a couple of other big saves on the penalty kill, but 6 goals against is not going to win you any games, especially when it's only on 45, 47 shots. So the team struggled a lot. Give credit to the Panthers. Jonathan Huberdeau really willed his team to a win. Patrick Hornquist was involved in both of those goals. Alexander Barkov, who did not play the majority of the first period, was a machine in that third period, and the Lightning could just not stop him, or any of the Panthers for that matter. But at some point, you need your goalie to make a save, and Vasilevsky didn't.
Right. And there's one thing about playing defensive and not giving up any goals, but when you try to play defensive too, and the Florida Panthers go and score 2 goals to tie the game, that is not ideal. Definitely wasn't Vasilevsky's best game, but Vasilevsky one of the best after a loss, so he might pitch a shutout on Saturday. That's all I'm saying because he's not going to be happy with himself after that one. So hopefully they can adjust that. But so also when we are tied 5-5 at the end of the third, and the Lightning do have a power play at the end of the third because Duclair had a cross-checking penalty, which it 100% was a cross-check. I saw some people saying that was a ridiculous call. You got to call that anyway. Lightning go into overtime, tied at 5 on the power play. You're thinking, all right, maybe they could just get a goal here on the power play. We'd be golden, win the game, get out of here with a 3-0 series lead. The Lightning don't do that. The power play just, I don't even know how to shot on goal during that overtime there. Even if it did, it was one Kucherov shot, I think, that went wide. It was just a really bad power play, nothing going. And then ultimately, the Florida Panthers win it in overtime. And of course, it's none other than Lomberg who scores the goal, who a lot of Lightning fans are not too pleased with. He's been all over Lightning, physically especially, and they win it in overtime. And Michael, there's a couple. I mean, Victor Hedman who is typically in a Norris talk a lot. He just does not had a good defensive season this year. Victor Hedman is by far one of the best defensemen in the NHL, but this is a down year for him. I feel like I don't know if there's an injury that's bothering him or something, but both Hedman and Ruda are kind of playing up on that play, trying to hold the blue line. The puck kind of bounces behind them, and Lombard gets right behind him and takes advantage of it and puts it right past Vasilevsky.
Yeah. Like, I gotta ask Victor Hedman, are you afraid of taking a penalty? Like, number one, do you not trust yourself not to take a penalty on that one? You've made that play dozens of times where you've just reached around and tried to poke the puck away. Number two, do you not trust the penalty killers? Like, you are one of the penalty killers. I get it. If you leave and take a penalty, it's up to McDonough, Cernak, Savard, whoever you want to put out there. Maybe Mikhail Sergachev. Please God, no, not Mikhail Sergachev. Um, he had not earned to be on the penalty kill recently, but I'm just wondering, like, what is going on with him? And you mentioned the entire season. I don't think it's been the entire season. I think he's playing hurt, but I don't want to sound too negative here, but it's really hurting the team and it's bordering on the verge of usability at this point. Like, I understand he puts up points. He's put up a lot of points so far in the playoffs. He's a power play presence. Nobody can, this is going to sound so dumb. Nobody can pass the puck to Stamkos and Kucherov from just the blue line on the power play like Victor Hedman. Sergachev can't do it. Neither can Ryan McDonough, but something's wrong. And you're probably going to expect to see Ryan McDonough more in game 4. At least I hope so. I understand that Victor Hedman is a multi-time Norris nominee. He's a one-time Norris winner. He's probably going to get nominated again this year. He puts up a ton of points. He's a really solid defensive player. I don't think you can put him out there for more than 20 minutes in game 4 because he is just not doing what he's supposed to.
Which is a shame because, as you said, he's one of the best defenders out there. Something is clearly wrong. I just don't know what it is. I would expect it's an injury. He did sit out for the last game against Florida in that regular season, or the last 2 games actually, I believe. And he came back for the playoffs, obviously, because these guys are going to play through injuries no matter what. We found out recently too that Nikita Kucherov played through an injury the whole year last year when the Lightning won a Stanley Cup as well. So I don't know what it is, but hopefully he can try to correct it. Hopefully he gets healthier throughout these playoffs and starts to play his game that we know he can play. Because it's been tough, and Jan Ruda too was not great in that play. He probably should have backed up a little more and been. Either way, it was a bad defensive breakdown. I think Vasilevsky even would rather have that back because he knows how good of a goaltender he can be. But Lightning ultimately fall to a 2-1 series lead. Now, yes, I still said a lead, so we're still up 2-1. It's not the end of the world. Do not panic. But Michael, I want to talk about some of the comments that players said after the game. Basically, Alex Killorn had said, listen, nobody's panicking in this locker room. They know they played a bad defensive game, especially in the third period. But they're not worried because this group is very calm and collective, and they know what they need to do. We've seen this team make judgments time and time again. We saw them do it in the second period. They just kind of fell back on their old ways into the third. So I don't think there's any reason to be worried heading into Game 4 on Saturday.
I'm not worried at all. If you're in the fan base and you are worried, go outside, take a deep breath, and live the rest of your life. There are less than 48 hours until game 4. But until then, go live your life. Like, let's not live and die on every single goal and every single goal against. And game 4 will come. And the Lightning, who this season have been much better at their afternoon games. I know they had a track record in previous seasons being horrible during afternoon games. They're very good at them during the playoffs. Like, the going back as far as I can remember to that first series against Detroit back in like 2016, they won that daytime game. They've won a lot of daytime games. I know the 5 overtime game wasn't necessarily a daytime game when it ended, but that started at like
Started as
2
a
p.m.
daytime game.
Yeah, it won. And they won. I am not worried about this whatsoever. What I would challenge John Cooper to do, this isn't anything to do with the players, but what I would challenge John Cooper to do is to load manage that left side of the defense. You don't want to tire out Ryan McDonough so far. But again, I've gotten a lot of texts from people that go, you need to bench Sergachev, you need to bench Hedman. For who? Frederick
Right.
Clayson? Luke Shen? Like Cal Foot is not even on the team, and I would love to see Cal Foot in the playoffs. That's just not going to happen. But
Yeah. No.
if you want to put 7 defensemen out there, go ahead. I thought Luke Shen did a really good job in game 2 as far as like being that 7th defenseman. So if you want to load manage on the left side, bring in Clayson. Put him as the 4th left defenseman. Have him cycle out with people like Savard. And I think your problem is sort of solved because now everybody's playing, hopefully, 20, 15, 15, 10. That would be ideal. And if it goes into overtime, you manage from there. But
Right.
Ryan McDonough's been playing the most amount of minutes on the left side. Then you put Hedman, then maybe Sergachev. Like those two have been horrible. They need to play some, but you really need to scale back their minutes.
Right. Well, we'll see what John Cooper does ahead of Game 4. If he goes 11-7, if he maybe puts in some other defenders, we'll see what happens there. But one quick fan question before we wrap everything up. This one again comes from Connor McMinn. By the way, guys, if you want to ask fan questions, be sure to follow us at Bay_Bolts. We do live coverage of the game. We have a lot of fun talking to all you guys on Twitter. We ask intermission questions during the game, and then we ask some questions for our quick strike videos. So if you want your questions answered, be sure to follow us on Twitter and let us know what questions you had. But he says, this is a weird one, but did you see the smoke come out of the top of the glass behind the goal after the Lightning scored? I thought it was pretty cool and wanted your thoughts on it. Yeah, I thought this was really cool. I didn't even know they put this in, and I only caught it because I wasn't. I was kind of at dinner watching the first period, but then when I got back, I noticed on the tail end of the one play, I could see smoke coming out of the glass. And I'm like, wait, when did that come out? I'm like, that is awesome. I love it. It's really, really cool. It's always fun. Playoffs, you're getting more excited, and the atmosphere is just that more intense, even with just 9,000 fans in there. It's a really cool feature. I love it, and I hope they continue this, even into the next couple of years as well, even if it's just a playoff thing.
Yeah, I hope it's just a playoff thing. Like you want to add a little bit of spice to your playoff goals and your
Right.
playoff atmosphere. So if they take it out next regular season, I don't think I'll be too upset about it because they really put on a show during the playoffs, whether it is a pregame thing or I
And
believe
that's how it should be.
they added the Tesla coils like during the playoffs, I think. It was something like that.
Something I can't remember off the top of my head, but you're right.
Yeah, and like people are always astounded. They're like, "There's a Tesla coil in here," and it goes off when the lightning score. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
So like, I've seen the smoke done before. I'm pretty sure Vegas does it. I know St. Louis does it. It's a nice touch, and especially during the playoffs, that's when they do it. Uh, I had to see it on the Bally Sports broadcast because NBC, of course, wouldn't show that anything positive would happen with the Lightning. Once again, I know I harped on this in game 1. Man, NBC, I'm so happy that they're leaving. Like they were absolutely horrible once again. Like the pros were the announcers, the cons were literally everything else. I'm just so happy that they are not going to be broadcasting NHL games going forward.
Yeah. Well, only one more year to go. So that'll be ready. But so the Lightning ultimately are down 2-1. Their next game is going to be on Saturday. That's tomorrow. As of this recording, this video should go up very, very soon. And then they're playing at 12:30, I believe, if I'm correct. So 12:30 game, very early game. Michael, as you noted, though, the Lightning do have a pretty good record when it comes to day games, going back into the playoffs and this season typically. So hopefully the Lightning can come away with a 3-1 series lead and send that back to Sunrise with a chance to end it in Florida. That would be kind of nice to send those Florida fans home, with the playoff series loss. But we will see. Only time will tell. Lightning do have to bounce back from a loss. But that's going to do it for us, guys, in today's video. Again, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. I'll link them all down below at Bay_Bolts on Twitter, which is where we are most active. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And remember, your Tampa Bay Lightning are your defending Stanley Cup champions.
Win at home, win the series.